And welcome back to another Feltaholics tutorial video, or welcome to the fold, as is fitting what a group of Highland cows are called. And usually they're called a herd. For these guys, it's called a fold. So these are my Highland cows. This is Sherbert, this is Blueberry, this is Caramel. And I did have two others, a pink one and a purple. And they were called Grape Ripple and Strawberry Punch. But they've sold. So I'm so glad so many people like the Highland cows. So I decided to do a video, and they are relatively simple. So what you will need today is the very minimum of, oh yes, we forgot one, didn't we? This little tiny mini one. If anyone knows what this color is, please let me know. It's a yellow green, like a lime, but not quite. And I do know the name of this color, I just can't think of it. But it serves as an example of how easy these little guys are to make, even in miniature. This guy is only about, let's check. Yes, he's exactly an inch long. He's a tiny little guy. So back to your materials. You will need, at the very minimum, 23 inches of core wool, 16 inches of this will be for the body, 6 for the head, and an inch for the horns, and a pipe cleaner. And you will want to cut this to be about 4 inches, and whatever color you like. These guys I made with merino wool, not the blue. I mixed the blue myself. Either a white or an off-white color for the nose, and a smidge of black. This is why I say always keep your wispy bits, your little pieces. Now mine do get taken from me. My son uses them to make fishing lures for fly fishing. And for today, we were going to use this yellow with Angelina fibers in it from Heidi Feathers in the UK. We're going to have to use this today. I just like the color. You'll also need whatever needles you like. I'm going to use a 36 and a 42 and one of my tools. So let's get started. So this pad I use is a simple ironing pad. And the use for any kind of a pad is so you don't poke through your work into the table or the surface and break your needle. So like I said, this is a simple ironing pad. It's very large because I have a very large desk. There's all kinds of different pads you can get or use, and we'll go over that in a future video. And I also use what is called a scraper. I'm sure it has a bunch of different names. And all this does is lift up pieces of fiber from your previous work. Pick it off. So then your work surface is clear and you're not getting darker color pieces of fiber in your new project. And you can get both of them on Amazon. So to start, you want to take a 16-inch piece. Now, my core wool comes in a bag in a big spiral, so it gets a bit compressed. So we're just going to fluff it up a little bit. Just fluff it up. Don't pull it apart. Just fluff it up. There we go. And we'll use caramel here. You're going to want to make a cylindrical shape. So as you're rolling, do a few rolls. You'll want to stab this through a few times. It'll help keep it in place. When you get a couple of rolls in, you'll want to turn it a little bit diagonally, just a little bit, to get that shape. And then you can go back and roll it. There we have the shape. Just going to poke it again a few times. By doing it this way, you'll just separate the back from the front. Almost looks like a croissant. So the smaller end will be the head, and the thicker or bigger end will be the back. Go ahead and just tuck those ends in. You see, as I go round and round, back and forth, I'm just stabbing it everywhere and anywhere to keep that shape and giving it a tuck. For this piece, you'll want it about semi-firm, which means squishable, but not too squishable. And I will show you. Caramel is semi-squishy, semi-firm, where you can smush him just a little bit, but he's still firm. So we'll just, sorry if I got out of the camera range there. Now I do apologize that it's taken me so long to get another video back up. I had 3 videos in the works, but I do travel for my work. Wildlife investigator, rehabilitator. And I did have a terrible month in February. Or so, excuse me, not February, but April. Murphy's Law. When I got back from my trip, which was very cold, surprisingly. I had got a cold, and then it was the domino effect. So, just some health issues. Get over all that. And then, a week ago, Thursday, I picked up my grandson, and I swear I pulled every muscle in my back. And I had 2 days where I could barely move. It was so bad. And my chiropractor was on vacation for the month. So it was a lot of heating pads and back goop. And my back is still sore today, and I have a heating pad on me. But we're good to go. So when we get to the back, we'll want to go in a circle. And each poke and direction you make with your needle makes a difference. If you go back and forth, it's going to flatten it out some. And remember to move your needle around, or you'll end up with a spot that's harder than the rest. So shallow pokes will make the outside firmer, but not the inside. If you want to stab deeper, that will compress the wool more. You can see me doing here. And you'll end up with uneven surfaces. So try to keep the depth consistent. So these are medium pokes. So we're not stabbing it. But we are using the full length of the barbs itself. And you never need to go any deeper than this. Remember to keep the front a bit smaller. You get it the shape fairly well, You can give it a roll. Don't push too hard. It'll also smooth it up a little bit for you. So this will be the shape that you will want. Now next we're going to do the head. So this is about 6 inches. And what I'd like you to do, just take a little smidgen off the end. Well, maybe just a little, oh, about a half an inch. Give it a little twirl. There's a reason for this. And then pull. So you have about this much. Now set that aside. And that will be for the ears, if you want to do the ears that way. And next we're going to fluff this up again, because it's a little compacted. Oh, sorry, my mic got moved. Cats came to visit. Poof it up a little bit again, if you need to do that. Now, with these 3 cows, I've done the heads in 3 different ways. I find if they're too angular, no matter what color they are, they will look like a pig. And too short is too round. So we're going to do Blueberry's head shape, which is a little cylindrical with a flat nose. So we're going to do it similar like we just did the body. We're going to roll it a few times, and then we're going to stab it in place. Much like a circle, we're going to fold this bit in half. You can already see how it's forming the head shape. Now roll that up. A little tuck. Now because it's more tighter, I'll have to stab it almost every roll. And you're not stabbing it to form a shape, you're just stabbing it to keep it in place. It does take a bit of practice to control your wool when you're shaping it, but keep at it and you will get it. Oh, you'll find your own method to do it. Now this looks really large at the moment, but remember it'll be compacted as we stab it. Oh, it looks like an egg roll right now, but it won't. So now we got it holding it in place. So we're going to go ahead and start forming this shape. And see, once again, you'll have the back be thicker and rounder, and the front or the face, it almost goes naturally. But for now, we're going to work on the back and get that shape, which is a half circle or semi-oval. So as we're poking, remember to try to keep it even. You'll get parts like this. Just go ahead and stab them down. Don't be afraid of the crunch. That's what you want to hear. It means you're compressing, and that is how your the needles work. As we stab, we compress, and it tangles the fibers. It tangles the fibers, and they lock together. Ever comb your own hair or someone else's hair? Notice that they get knots in their hair. The principle is almost the same, but on a larger scale. And not your own hair, because that really hurts. So we're just going to work at that. Check it once in a while, and you can give it a little tap around, smooth it out. But you still want it semicircle. So as you round the corner, as it were, you can step a little bit deeper. Just go for that shape. So yesterday, I just shifted my chair a little bit, put my heating pad back in place. Excuse me for 1 second, and I'll tell you what happened yesterday. I did a podcast about big cats. So the podcast was about big cats. When that's actually posted, I'll put a link up here the next time for it. So when you get to the nose, just work it in a bit more. Give it a tuck, give it a tuck, give it a tuck. And remember, please watch your fingers. I can hear some of you hollering already. And it happens to all of us the first time. Remember, after a while, you won't even worry about it. Your fingers will just know to move out of the way. Like mine do. I don't even think about it. What we're going to start to do now is just put a bit more pressure on our needle. So we're stabbing inward, almost making a point where the nose is going to be. Get that tucked in there. Don't know if you can hear that or not. It's not Oliver. That's Binks. Oh, she's playing with a toy there. Which was good timing. Binks, she's a black cat. She's called a, well, her breed of cat is called a Bombay. So she looks like a little black panther. So what I want to do is just work on that face. Get it into a bit of a, see, a flat point. Oh, my microphone got moved again. I'm going to circle. Just double check it. A little bit more, I think. Let's check this and smooth that out. So you have a few bumps in there. We'll just smooth those out. Smooth it out a bit more. We're going to just switch needles to a finer needle. This will help you smooth the bumps out. Let's see, I work different angles all over. Now some of these I'm not going to worry about, these lines, because you're not going to see them once the color is on. The roving or the tops, the slivers. Now we're going to check the size against the body. It's pretty good. Now I like to use a big pin. Right on there. Now once you have it smoothed down to where you like, pick whatever you want to be the bottom. Just tap it down flat. This will be the bottom and it should sit flat. A little bit more. Now these are just taps. Remember what I said about making the top layer firmer? So that's what you want to do for this. There we go. And this is where it will sit. I would say 1/4 to 1/2 inch back on its head. Now actually, if you can, you could use a piece of pre-felt or synthetic felt for this next piece. Because our mats get used so much, they do get a bit rough. What you can do is just take the iron, if your mat is made of wool, and go over it a little bit. What I have here, and you can see I do use it a lot, is a very thick piece of felt. It's very hard. Now this will prevent your merino fibers from getting fuzzy. So yeah, you can really see the Angelina fibers in this sparkling. I was worried it wouldn't show up. What you do is take a piece, because we're going to have to do this in pieces. I do have another way of doing this, and I'll show you in another video. So you'll just pull. Remember that the length that you pull will be based on from here to where your hand is. So if we want a piece this long, you will pull it that length. We don't need it that long, so we're going to pull it at this length. And between your thumb and finger, and pull apart just like this. And we're going to do it a bit different. Whatever end is the bigger, see the back side, we're going to lay it down this way. Everybody see that? It's going to cover just a tad bit of the bottom. I'm going to strike it through. Hold it in place, tap that bottom down. I'll show you why we'll do it this way in a minute. Get this tap down. And this is a fine needle. And I'm just going to switch to my clover tool. They're usually blue, but of course I've painted it. You can put 2 or 3 needles in this. Of course I use 2. You don't need the tool. You can hold the 2 between your fingers. I have a friend of mine who does that. You should all go and check out that page. She does the cutest, and I do mean the cutest, 3D little critters, and her 2D is just amazing. So go and check that out over at Caledonia Wool Company on Facebook. She does live video tutorials every other week, and we always have a great time over there. You can come and join us and partake in the shenanigans. Because needle felting shouldn't be so serious. It's a way where we can just be mellow and have some fun with it. It doesn't need to be so serious. So once you have your body covered, we'll just go over it a little bit one more time, just to firm it up and lay those fibers down. Yes, I forgot to mention, you could find Caledonia Wool Company on YouTube. Go over and check that out. Like I said, we have a lot of fun over there, and she is an amazing artist. So the reason that we laid it down the way that we did, as you can see, it may go from left to right and round, but we have it covered. And it does cause problems when you try to wrap it this way, because you'll end up with a big circle, an obvious circle on the back. So you don't want that. But we're going to tap that down just a little bit because we still got a little bit of sticky uppies here. Sorry. And then we're going to move on to the head. Now with my other cows, you will see that we're going out of there, is a solid color and not the mixed color. But for this, we're going to put the mixed color on it. And again, already got a piece out. I'm going to wrap it, and we're going to wrap the whole thing. We're not going to do back and forth. We're going to wrap the whole thing. So then we have the proper coverage for a nose. And we cover the nose. So we're not going to worry about the very front piece just yet. Again, strike it through, tap it down. Remember, don't drag your project. Just lift it up and turn it. I'm using just a little bit of a heavier gauge needle so we can get this down faster. I was really considering doing a live video for this one, but it's getting a little bit late. And I have 5 cats that come in and out, and if I shut the door, they will bang the door down. So I do have to pause when I do these videos on occasion because of the cats. As you can see, we're tapping it into place in the same shape because we need to keep that nose shape at the end. Remember what I said at the beginning, if it's too pointed, it looks like a pig. And you don't want it too square. But you still have to have all the fibers tapped down. If you don't like the white on there, you can cover it. You can cover it with, well, let's take out this off-white. Let's see if it looks good with the yellow. I think this color is called Cookie. Yeah, I don't like that. Let's just use some white. Smooth it down again. I do apologize about the microphone. As I said, no, I have to fix it every time the cats come in here. And just go over it in a circle. Or more of an oval. Much better. Crispy bits. Give it a twirl and tap it down. So when working on a face, because a face is usually the focal point, expression is very important. Now, these Highland cows don't have eyes, and they don't need to have eyes because the hair covers their face. Switch over to a smaller needle. Excuse me, smaller gauge needle. I take a little bit of a black. You're just going to twirl this between your fingers. This is called dry felting. Roll it around on your fingers. So we're rolling it into a ball. And then we'll roll it around so it's a little angular. Take your scissors and do best you can to cut it right in half. Line that up. We're going to take one and two. Bit of a heavier gauge needle. You have it lined up. Just tap it right in there. I think I'll need a little bit more black on that side. Now I'm going to leave it like that for the minute. Always come back to it after and finish it up. And there's the head. Excuse me, there's the nose. Next, we're going to work on the hair, the ears, and the horns. So next, we're going to take the pipe cleaner. And we're going to cut off about 4 inches from it. I have a ruler. You can't see it, but I have a ruler underneath me. And cut it off with a 4-inch point. These are going to be the horns. Now, horns aren't going to be this long. To take the end, let's say, let's have a look, a centimeter. So about 1 centimeter, you're going to bend it, bend the tip. Of course, you could have your horns longer or shorter. And you bend the tip and wrap it so then it doesn't poke out. You don't have to use a pipe cleaner, of course. If you want to make your own by just rolling it, you can, but this is much easier. So then we want to take the coral wool, and go with the way that you've wrapped it. This is the trickiest part. Hold that in place and tap it. Careful not to hit the wire, because you're only tapping it in place. If you hit the wire too hard, your needle will break. Hold that in place. Give it a twirl. You see that coral wool will cling to the pipe cleaner. Oh, sorry. The inch that you have the coral wool for this, please pull it in half. This is getting a bit late here. There. Take your fine needle and just tap. And if you're not used to working with a wire, because this is how you would make a wire armature, just lightly tap. Because you just need it to cling to each other when it's this close. And it's sticking out. This is the same way that you would do a wire armature underneath. Some come wrapped with paper. I often use a wire wrapped with a pipe cleaner and then coral wool on top. We don't need to do it for this one. It's sticking out just a bit more. Now we're going to give it a bit of a roll. Now I don't put color on this because the little off-white of the core wool works really good for the color on the horns. Now what we're going to do is check it. Yep, still looks good. Always check. I always forget to say check the size. Set that aside. Now for the ears. Remember you had to pull some core wool off. We're going to take that and pull it in half. Go through your fingers. Do both pieces. I like to do both pieces at the same time. You know how we did that nose? We're going to do the ears similar. We're going to take this and we're going to fold it over. Turn the camera down here. Right here in the elbow side. I have 3 come every year about this time of the year, and they all have a different hoot pattern, so I can tell them apart. So one will go hoo 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 hoo, and the other one will go hoo hoo hoo, and another one will hoo 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 hoo. Very interesting. So as you can see, they almost look like ears already, but similar to the nose. Again, we're going to tap them down in an almost teardrop shape. All the way through. Leave a little smidgen at the bottom, because that part will be for felting it on. And again, you don't have to use core wool for the ears. You can go straight for using the color of the slivers or tops that you wanted to use. But I'm going to show you anyhow, because it's the same no matter which you use. I did take a couple of pieces off for the one. Ooh, that's a bit much. The ears. We're going to do it in a similar way. Fold it over. Fold it over. Now, if you decide to use your core wool, all you will do is felt the color right on top. But for now, this is the quickest way. Teardrop shape. You have to gauge the size of the ear. You could have big ears, little ears, whatever you like. Just swoop that in. It's either already starting to look like ears. You want to pull it off and turn it over. Pull it off, turn it over, and do that again. Now I'm going to make the ears a little bit bigger so then you can see. I hope everybody could hear that. Teardrop shape. I'll have to do this a couple times. Sometimes I get really into my work and you can't hear when I speak. So I do apologize. So hopefully you can hear what I just said. Now I'm going to pull these up and I'm going to use my finger guards to even them out some. Turn the camera back up. Maybe I won't use my finger guards since it just went flying. Another way to do that at ears is to take a piece of pre-felt and just cut it in the ear shape. If you have some yellow, let me switch out needles again. If you have some color that matches, that would work too. But these ones, it's done the way I just showed you. So what we want to do is we want to go around the outside and even that out. But compress it a little bit. You could check out the previous video on how to make ears. You can put a thin piece of cardboard between this and do it that way. And that would be for the teddy bear baubles. I'll do the other one. If you have a different way of doing ears, then please go right ahead and do that. There's many different techniques to felting. These are just mine. When I started needle felting many years ago, there was only a couple of videos. And they were about wet felting. But I did manage to find one. No, I'm sorry, I don't remember what it was. And I do believe it was a little tiny teddy bear. It was quite difficult for me to get anything. I managed to get a little tiny panda kit, probably no bigger than my thumb. And of course, no pun intended, I was hooked on needle felting after that. I couldn't find books, anything. So a lot of these things I've had to learn on my own throughout the years. In the beginning, I did not know the difference between tops, slivers, or core wool. So I was actually using tops or slivers for everything. And no pipe cleaners or wires and anything. Everything is solid. So I am self-taught. I do watch other people's videos to get ideas, or maybe something is done easier. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, if you have a better way of doing it, you do it what way is comfortable for you. Now we have two little ears. Let me just adjust this one a little bit. Go ahead and make the ears and we'll be right back. Right, so once you have the ears done, just set them aside. We're going to place the horn on first. Then you have a place for your ears. So decide what top you want to be the top of the head. And let's lay the horn down. So we'll say just about mid-back, maybe a bit less. We're going to tap that down to keep it in place. Once we put the hair on it, it'll also help. Remember, there is a wire in there. And you only need to do about this much on the top. Remember, it is a pipe cleaner. It will bend. Bend it up out of the way. And you'll want to put your ears directly under the horn. And we've done it in such a way where you fold them. And they have a little fold in their ear. I'll lay that down right under the horn. I want to start with the back. Now take the fibers, use your thumb, and lay it down directionally the way your fibers were laid down. Tap that in place to begin with, just to make sure the position is good. I'm just going to tap that down. And then we'll do the front. You want to tap into that fold to keep it in place. That looks good, and you go ahead and do some heavy taps and felt that into place. Make sure you get the inner ear. And again, if it looks good, put that out of the way. Go right ahead and felt it down. And it'll just blend right in with the rest of it. Don't worry about it if it doesn't cover it 100% when we put the top hair or the bangs on. You won't see it. Remember, I'm on a time limit. You are not. Tap that down. It's so cute. Do the other side the same way. Give it a bit of a fold. Place it under the ear. Separate them back a little bit. Little fold. Hold it in place with your finger. Put it right on down. And blend it right on in. Just a tad. There we go. Now we're going to do the hair. It looks a little lopsided there, but that's okay. We'll just adjust it a little bit. There we are. Now, you'll want to take your color, whatever color you want to use for the bangs, and we're going to do it in wispy bits. Just pull there carefully. I want to measure it. If that's the front with the wispies that you would like, hold it about a quarter of the way down. Then we're going to lay that right down a little bit. Again, I'm going to just use a bit of a heavier gauge needle. Start at the back. Tap it through or strike it through, as I keep saying. Tap that down. And you want to get it right into the horn. This will help secure the horn in place. Blend that right in. Now when you get to this part, tap the way that your hair is going. Remember, there's a wire in there. A couple of stabs in here. Take your needle, gently wisp it down. A couple of sticky outies here. There we go. And do that again. Hold it about a quarter of the way down. Get down again. This time you will spread it across. Again from the back. Tuck it under the horn. That down, I'll blend that in. Go directionally of the hair on top of the horn. Turn it around. Just being a little bit more firmer to get that tucked. And again, a couple of pokes. There. Wisp the hair down. She's very fine because it's merino. We'll have to do it a couple of times. Doing it very gently, combing the top layer. Take your scissors, head over. Try to line up your fingers with the nose. Hold your fingers like I have so you don't cut your finger. Give that a chop. Turn it over. Wisp it down a little bit. Again. I'm going to cut on an angle. You don't need your fingers for this. So it's not so triangular. Wisp that down. It's just so cute. An angle. A bit over the horns, however you want to style that. course, you can keep working at this. Don't make the hair flat at the front. Because the Highland cows' bangs do hang over their face. Now I'm going to show you how to put the head on. Now, before we put the head on, we're going to work on the tail. So take a thicker piece, about this much, and however length you want the tail to be. Pull that apart. Now, similar to the ears, we're going to lay that down and tap it into the mat, and then stab it into the mat. So you want to go back and forth, and up and down. Now remember to leave the ends wispy. That's how you will attach this end, and this end will be the tail. Pull that up, turn it over, felt it again. Remember, your mats can be more than mats. They are tools as well. So you'll have to do it a couple times. You want them on a little felted strip. And then I want you to do is turn it over. Watch your fingers. See, it's forming the tail. Turn it over, do it one more time. Pull that up from the mat. Now I want you to lay it on your mat and give it a rub briskly. And it will form the round shape that you want. So I want you to take that wispy end and a bit more of your color. Give that a pull. Yeah, that much is good. Lay your wispy right in the middle of your tail. Now this will be the length. So if you want your end of your tail where the hair is to be this length, that's where you lay this. Now you're going to fold this over. Give that a tap right into it, right into what you just made. Lay this one over. Make sure it's all even. Give that a tap. Again, into your mat. Pull it up. Give it a little twirl. Again, felt that into place. Now you have the end of the tail. An end of the tail. If you don't want it this long, just give it a trim on an angle. I'll show you how to do that. Like I do like the wispies, but on an angle. Little fluff. Comb it down, and now you have a tail. What to do is lay it near the top. And right about here. To just stab that in. We want it to blend right in. Of course, if you don't like it that length, I'm going to leave it this length because it's kind of purty. Maybe a little bit at the top. Go ahead and again on an angle. Fold that over. Tap it right in place. Blend right on in. Might adjust that a little bit. And there you have your tail. Now we're going to put the head on. Now that we've almost reached the finish line, I want his head to be looking just a little slightly that way. Secure that pin in place. And you want to take a bit of the color that you used. To start. Pull that in half. And what we're going to do is attach the head to the body with these. So you don't have to use a pin. I just find it helps. Not too much sideways. There we go. We'll make them a little scarf. Tuck it right in there. A little tap to put it in place. Get it up in there. And you want to do it on an angle, up and down. Up and down. So you're using these wispy bits to hold the head in place as we go around. And just by giving it a little tap, you're putting the placement in it, and it helps to hide it. Of course, you can go back over this and firm it up if you like. If you need a little bit more headway, add a bit more color to it. We do it in smaller amounts because it's easier to hide. And if you're more comfortable with using some glue, very little I would suggest, so it doesn't run all over the place, go ahead and use glue. But even with glue, I would suggest that you still put this little scarf around his neck. So then it doesn't wobble. Do this a few times. You can go right into the head and tap down if you like. Secure it in place. We got a bit of the scarf showing. Let's just get that worked in. And ta-da! From head to tail, you'll have your own little Highland cow. And I will have kits for these in the future. Or he can join our little herd. Oh, excuse me, our fold. Here we are, our little Highland cow. And this will be lemon meringue. Thanks for joining us here at Feltaholics. And remember to like and subscribe. And if you would like to see me make something else or have any ideas, please let me know in the comment section below or have any questions. And especially if you know what color of green this is, because I'd like to know. I'm actually kind of fond of that green because it's just a bit different. Okay, see you next time.